Hello and welcome to Becoming Abundant podcast. I am your host, Anna Maria Jinga, and this is our side of the internet where we get to speak about true abundance, personal authority, emotional optimization, and the pure power of alignment, all while living in the presence and guidance of God Himself. I am a holistic coach and mentor focusing on healing the emotions keeping you stuck so that the mind and body can align and live a limitless life. We all have a mission and a purpose, and I am here to help you unchain from what's been holding you back to actually live in your full potential. Think of it as transformative triggering in the best possible way. The time has come to live a life you love. Let's dive in. Hello, my darlings, and welcome to this week's episode. I am your host, Anna Maria Jinga. Man, this week has been crazy. And I can tell you what, I am seeing quite some crazy patterns going on in the socials, in conversations I'm having, in all sorts of situations. My cat just climbed down, so if you heard something, sorry for that. But we're in the RV life and we're down in the US. So last night, I'm recording this on Wednesday. So last night, we just celebrated Donald Trump getting elected as president of the United States, 47th president. Congratulations. This means a big grasp on freedom again. This doesn't only impact the US because this Canadian gal is very excited to see some serious changes in Canada as well. In this week's episode, I actually want to speak about freedom of the mind and heart. You probably heard me saying this many times before. I'm wrapping my business around the concept of creating space and systems and experiences for my clients and those who are coming towards me from now on to bring freedom to the minds and hearts of them. Because for the longest time, we have been told a lie. We have been told a lie that we need to sacrifice ourselves in order to serve a greater good. And I was thinking this morning as I was praying to the Holy Spirit that I was in prayer and I asked Him, please teach me how to approach my business from a different perspective. And the thing that came up to mind is teach me how to speak to these people that have been numb for so long, that have been lost for so long, that have been constantly sacrificing themselves for this greater good when this so-called greater good is actually a greater evil. I'll let that sink in for a moment. Think of it. Whose greater good are we constantly sacrificing for? Because our birthright is to be free, to use our free will to honor God, to use our free will to experience life and its blessings, to use our critical thinking and freedom to think, to speak, to act, to observe, to take up space, to bear arms, to protect ourselves and love each other. All of these freedoms are for the greater good. So when we are sacrificing those in order to serve a greater good, whose greater good are we serving? Because when we're serving this, and it's my belief, so that's why you're listening to my podcast, because you want to hear my belief that will create the space for you to start thinking more. So here is a topic to think a lot. When we're serving this greater evil, and when good is seen as evil and evil is seen as good, everything you start believing is a lie. And everything you believe about freedom, the type of freedom that evil is promoting, would be a lie to your true birthright of your true freedom. So let's think about that for a moment. When we see the truth as being false because the belief that we have is a lie, but the belief that we have is the thing that actually makes us feel safe because it's known, we will hold on to that belief. And whenever we hold on to this belief of, I need to sacrifice myself for others, without actually questioning what am I sacrificing myself for? Because whenever we are taking care of each other in communities, when we are allowing each other to speak our minds and to not censor ourselves and to not, and I'm not even talking about political stuff here. I am talking about when someone has a different opinion than you, and you're working on having a discussion, a debate, a contradiction even, and the opposite person is telling you, I don't want to fight, why are we fighting? Or they're letting their emotions take up way too much space where they cannot have a normal conversation. That is you sacrificing your freedom to speak, because you will tone down and quiet up and not say anything more for the greater good. But is that really what is necessary? Because constantly silencing ourselves to be the bigger person in a discussion, to be holding space for another, to think all positive and bubbly and all of those rainbows and butterflies type of approaches, and we do not speak the truth when it's there, when we hold back the truth because we're thinking of not hurting the other person with the truth, so we tell a lie or we accept a lie, then whose greater good are we serving? Because the other person is being left in darkness, in their own shadow, in their own heaviness, whereas we get to sacrifice ourselves and limit ourselves and silence ourselves. So here's a note that came up to me this morning during my prayer time. When we have something that is known, even if it is a lie, even if it hurts us, even if we create the story that it is the only thing that's good in our lives, even if it's affecting us and making us worse, we will fight to keep it safe. Because when we feel safe in the known, and the known is a lie, and the known is a story that we've told ourselves, about others, about I cannot do this more than I've done so far. I will not be able to heal my body. I will not be able to heal my mind. I will not be able to run a business. Who am I to make more money? Who am I to create an impact? Who am I to do anything else than what I'm told to do? You believe the lie. And you believe this lie because it's known. Because freedom and truth are really uncomfortable. And whenever we have this space of questioning our identity, we will fight to keep it safe, even if our life depends on it. Because in psychology, whenever we have something affecting our direct identity, even if the identity itself is not part of our physical body, the body believes that it is dying or that it is being targeted and it is not safe. So I'll let that sink in for a moment, because some of you listening right now might be thinking, no, I'm okay. I'm having a mediocre life, and that is what is meant for me, and that's okay, because I was taught that hard work only pays off a little bit, and I have to work a lot in order to make some form of ends meet, and I need to constantly sacrifice myself for my family, for my friends, for my kids, for my mother, father, brother, sister, everyone in between, and never put myself first. So it might be triggering to hear that you might be wrong. And here's a story. I was wrong for the past 20 plus years of my life. Easily I was wrong. And it was hard for me to accept at first that my beliefs were actually not true, because my beliefs were my whole reality. So when you are being presented with a question that makes you wonder, is everything I believed actually a lie? You feel like reality is not what you thought. You're having a total Matrix moment. What I mean about a Matrix moment, do you remember when Neo is being awoken from the Matrix and he's like bald and he has that spike in the back of his cerebellum, and he wakes up and he's like, oh, what's happening? That's it. That's the thing. You totally feel like your reality is being taken away from you. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you're doing. Everything feels out of control. I was there about 3 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something around those lines. And when it happened to me, I fought back with everything I had for a couple of months. And the more I fought back, the more I realized how much I believed a lie about myself, about the world, about the things around me, about my relationship, about me being a mother, about, oh my goodness, everything that you can possibly imagine. There were these lies. And these lies sounded something in the lines of, I will never heal my mental health. My mind will always be attacking me. I do not deserve to feed myself properly because every time I would eat at the table growing up with my parents, they would fight. So I associated eating with something negative. So every time I would have a stressful time, I would just not eat. So I didn't believe that I was worthy enough to eat proper food. I didn't believe that I was worthy enough to not have crazy thoughts and dissociations in my brain where I didn't feel like my body was my own. I didn't feel I was enough, worthy enough, good enough to actually hold a job, to be more than I was told to be, just an assistant, be someone small, just obey, just don't say too much because you might hurt someone's feelings. And while I do know and understand that when we're going through processes of healing, there are many negative emotions coming up. I was so deep in my belief of being unworthy and unvalued that I constantly fought back to preserve that identity. And it still has times now that it's trying to peek its head. And it's funny because I always remind it, hey, honey, that is such a big lie. And you have served your purpose in teaching me all the things I need to know to be able now to help others wake up from their own lies and limits and toxic experiences and limitations and lacks and all of the things that pop up from that. But you've served your purpose and you are done right now. So thank you and good night. Because when we speak like that to an identity that has served its purpose and you're able to free yourself from that heaviness, you get to build yourself from there as who you were meant to be. And in these past 3-4 years, since I had that massive wake up call that everything I believed about myself, about the world, about everything that was going on in me, around me, within me, and so on was a lie. Once I woke up from that, I didn't just snap into a new identity. It took years to build it. One, because I didn't have anyone in my corner, so I just did it by myself. That's why now when I'm doing it with my clients, with my friends, with anyone that wants to learn, we know the roadmap. I guide you through all of that. There's no madness of excruciating pains and panics that you need to deal with all by yourself. You have me in your corner. So that is like a whole army of people being on your side. Not to toot my own horn, but if I did it by myself, we can do it together 10 times faster. So that's that. But when I was able to create this new identity, it actually helped me realize that I wasn't the one creating it. I was the one discovering it. Because God Himself created me in the womb, knew me before I was even created in the womb, made me exactly who I needed to be. And I just took a longer route to become her. But everything that happened in the past was meant for me to experience, to learn the hard way, but to learn and to use moving forward so that now, because I got to bring to myself the freedom of my mind and of my heart and control over my mind and heart and whole life, I get to bring it to you and I get to teach it to you. So that in itself is a true blessing. But that's the thing. When we work with the lies that we are being taught from experiences, from environments, from whatever's going on when we grow up, when we work with people, when we do anything in between, that's the thing. We believe the lie for so long because we don't know better. It's not that something is wrong with us. We just don't know better. And because the lie has been reinforced so often, we don't know how to do anything else but believe it. Because if you wouldn't believe your identity, you would be seen as crazy. So it's good to believe the lie so that you don't seem crazy to the people around you. But is the identity that you're having right now serving you or hindering you? Because if it's not serving you to fulfill your life's mission, to live an abundant, aligned, happy, joyful, peaceful life, if it's not rewarding, making you excited to wake up, making you exhaustedly, pleasantly surprised and filled at night when you go to bed, most likely your identity is not fully serving. And when your identity is not fully serving you, it means that something needs to change, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you do not take actual actions to change the thing inside of you that is getting in your own way, you're just choosing it. And funny enough, I was even talking to a lady I was following on social media who mentioned that she's not voting because both parties are evil. And of course, my tiny righteous self had to comment the fact that if you're not choosing the values that are going to help this country, this world, gain more proper freedom, you're actually choosing the evil that has been prolonged for so long. Because whatever you're not choosing, if you're saying you're not choosing A or B because you want to be out of it, you're still choosing whatever the reality is at that moment. So even if you choose not to choose, that is still a choice. That's a fun life lesson right there. Second, when you think about the actions, the beliefs, the ways that you conduct yourself with, what are some of the actions that make you perform the way you do now? And what are some of the actions that make you perform at your best? Do you even know your best? Have you even pushed yourself so far out of your comfort zone that you can discover your best? That is where freedom actually lies. When you challenge yourself, when you learn yourself, when you uncover yourself, when you accept the fact that, yes, I lied to myself for so many years, 20 plus years right here, honey. I've lied to myself for so many years. I was someone and something that was completely drenched in self-doubt, self-hatred, lack, worry, sadness, fear, terror. And I'm emphasizing all of these because that was my reality for the longest time. If that identity was not serving me, and it took quite some years to get out of that, it's time for you as well to bring questions to your identity and see what's actually going on there. Because if you're not actually living the life that you want, something is up. It's not your environment. We can always move, change, shift. We are not trees. I love this saying so much. If you want to change something out of your life and you don't like your environment, just move. You're not a tree. And you're not a tree. So because you are not a tree, what are some beliefs and roots that you have left to guide your life, to hold your life, to sacrifice your life for, that need to be let go? Because if you feel guilty for the things that you are doing, if you're procrastinating and your beliefs are holding you back from actually performing something, and you constantly tell yourself, oh, I should do this and I should do that, and should is not bringing you freedom. Besides the fact that I know, and I know that I have asked this in our previous episode, what is the truth that sets you free? I actually have a question for you guys for this week that goes something like this. How would you live your life differently when you are the one giving yourself permission to do the things you want to do? Even more so, go deeper into that. What kind of permission do you need to give yourself in order to live a life of freedom? Even more so, go deeper into that. What are the things that you want to do? Why haven't you done them before? What actually was stopping you? Do you need any kind of external validation to feel like you are worthy enough to choose something that makes you happy? Here you go. Here's your validation. Anna said, you are completely entitled to try to make yourself happy. Now, that being said, Anna didn't say to do crazy things that harm you or harm others. Anna said, find ways to make yourself more happy, more joyful, more peaceful. Find the things that resonate with you, that help you grow, that help you heal, that help you heal. Let me say that even again. Find the things that help you heal, because healing will never take 1 second. It will take years and you're going to be fine with it. But the thing is, when you are believing the lies and constantly looking outside for validation, you will be in this cycle, never-ending cycle of, I need validation because I don't feel good enough, but I don't feel good enough because I'm not getting validation. And the only way I can get validation is from others, but others do not have validation to give me because they don't feel valued either. So you sit in this cycle of they don't value me and I don't value myself because they don't value me and I don't know what to do, and they don't value themselves, so they don't know how to value me. So it's this never-ending cycle of suffocating yourself. And you don't know when to give yourself permission to just breathe and just question. Where did I learn to not value myself? Where did I learn not to love myself enough to give myself freedom? Because the collective freedom will never trespass on other people's freedoms. Let me say that one more time. The collective freedom will never trespass on other people's freedoms. Because the collective freedom will serve everyone's freedoms. And we just need to grow up and stop being offended of everything under the sun and know that freedom of the mind and heart is actually managing your emotions when things are uncomfortable and getting over them. Freedom of the mind means that you can control your thoughts so that things that trigger you will not trigger you for long and actually help you grow and heal and be better. Freedom of the heart means that you get to control your emotions and allow yourself to feel your emotions without feeling like you're a prisoner to your emotions, and knowing when and how much to sit with an emotion that is maybe uncomfortable and learning from it what it actually teaches you. Because life is all a lesson, and life is wonderful and magnificent and powerful. And the more you allow yourself to question and get curious about who you truly are, who God made you to be, that is when you gain freedom. So, my loves, the question of the week, I will just repeat it because I got so caught up in this subject of freedom, and I could probably walk you through so many examples of how to shift into more of your own mind and heart freedom. But let's close it here for now. The question of the week again is, how would you live your life any differently when you are the one giving yourself permission, valuing yourself enough to do the things your way, to do the things that make you happy? All right, my loves, I'm very excited to read all your emails. Send them at info@becomingabundant.net or send them my way on my socials. I am Becoming Abundant. Side little note, my darlings, my Facebook got hacked about 2 weeks ago, so I have a whole new page. I will add a link to our description here. If you want to join, I'm there sharing all sorts of things, continuing building the community. I love us so much. So things have been growing, things have been exploring and expanding. So I'm very excited to be able to hold this space for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I feel so blessed to be able to bring this freedom back to your minds and hearts. I know God is working through me and with me to reach all of your amazing ears. And thank you for surrendering to the process, trusting the process, questioning the process, just being here and sharing your ears with me today. Thank you. I love you. And stay salty and bright. Until next week. Bye.